time at this office, Turning Point USA office.
So we met at the office opening, the Turning Point headquarters office opening, the first one, August 2018, and I had no idea what to expect because I was coming into the office from the standpoint of they were potentially going to hire me.
All right, let's get into it. The story of Charlie Kirk and Erika Kirk's love is one of those rare stories that feels straight out of a movie, unexpected, pure, and beautifully real. It all began in August of 2018 at the Turning Point USA headquarters office opening. Charlie was there for work, focused on the professional side of things, while Erika, known for her warmth, confidence, and intelligence, was also there for the same event. Neither of them had any idea that this ordinary day at the office would become the beginning of something extraordinary. Charlie had no clue that he was about to meet the woman who would completely change his life. Erika, on the other hand, was simply going about her day, not realizing that fate had just stepped into the room with a quiet smile. They first met briefly, exchanged polite words, and went on with their day. But something about that first meeting stayed with Charlie. A spark, small but undeniable, had been lit. Erika didn't think much of it at the time, but Charlie did. A few days later, he sent her a message on Instagram. It was short, simple, and straight to the point. "Hey, shoot me a text at," followed by his number. It was August 31st, 2018. That one message would become the starting point of everything that followed. Erika saw the message but didn't reply right away. She was out in the Hamptons, where she barely had phone service. When the notification flashed on her screen that Charlie Kirk had DM'd her, she couldn't help but smile. It felt random, maybe even a little unexpected, but something inside her told her to keep that message in mind. A few days later, she texted him back, saying, "Hey, nice to officially meet you again. What did you want to talk about?" Charlie, being the direct person he is, told her he wanted to meet in person. He said he was coming into New York City and suggested they meet at Bill's Burgers. Erika, who had been living in Manhattan for years, found it funny. She had never even heard of that place before. Still, she agreed to meet. It was a simple dinner plan, or so she thought. What she didn't know was that this dinner would change everything. Charlie arrived first. He was coming straight from a Fox appearance, still wearing that confident smile that everyone recognized him by. Erika arrived a few minutes later, stepping out of a taxi with her usual calm energy. They got their table, and the evening began. Erika noticed right away how polite Charlie was to the waitress. Small things like that mattered to her. It showed kindness, and that was something she valued deeply. They ordered their food, and soon, the conversation began flowing naturally. But this wasn't just small talk. Charlie, ever the thoughtful thinker, began asking deep, layered questions. It felt like an interview, and in some ways, it was. They discussed Aristotle, Socrates, theology, success, life goals, and everything in between. Erika, being sharp and articulate herself, held her own in the conversation. The two connected through words and ideas, and before they knew it, hours had passed. What was supposed to be a casual dinner turned into a 3.5-hour conversation that neither of them wanted to end. The restaurant was starting to close up, plates were cleared, and yet, they were still sitting there, talking, laughing, and sharing pieces of themselves. At the end of it, Erika looked at Charlie, slightly nervous but curious, wondering whether she had gotten the job she thought she was interviewing for. That's when Charlie looked at her and said, "I'm not going to hire you." Erika froze for a second, unsure how to react. Then he smiled and added, "I'm going to date you." It was bold, it was honest, and it caught her completely off guard. She laughed, trying to process what he had just said. "Maybe we can just be friends first," she suggested, trying to slow things down. But Charlie, confident and certain, replied calmly, "I have enough friends. I don't need another friend. But if you want to date, that would be great." He wasn't joking. He was sure of what he wanted, and what he wanted was her. Erika didn't even know what to say. She told him she'd think about it, and he simply said, "You have until tomorrow night when I take you out for dinner again. Then you can give me your answer." It was unexpected, direct, and charming in its own way. After dinner, Erika walked home through the quiet streets of Manhattan, her mind racing. She couldn't believe what had just happened. What started as a supposed job interview had turned into something so much more. She called her mom that night and said, "Well, I didn't get the job, but I got a boyfriend." It was the kind of story that would make anyone smile.
And I knew of Erika, I saw Erika, and we had a very brief meeting at the office, and then I had my first conversation with Erika.
He'll tell it differently, so I'll tell you from my side. I was in the Hamptons. I get a random DM on my phone. I have zero service when I'm out there, and all of a sudden this DM flashes up, and it's like, "Charlie Kirk DM'd you," because it's so Charlie. August 31st, 2018. "Hey, shoot me a text at," and gave me his number. I didn't respond for a few days.
I Instagram messaged her and said I urgently needed to meet with her. And she said, "Why?" And it was partially a job interview and also partially something else.
So when I eventually messaged him back via text, I was like, hey, nice to officially meet you again. What did you want to talk about? Because it was so just random. And he was like, hey, I'm coming into New York City. Let's meet at Bill's Burgers. Mind you, I've lived in Manhattan now for about 5 years. I've never eaten at Bill's Burgers before. So that I guess was a sign, like, let's take an adventure tonight for dinner and go find Bill's Burgers and meet your future husband that you have no idea is about to be your future husband.
And so then we had a great time, and it was about 15 minutes in, I quickly pivoted away from wanting to hire her to wanting to date her, and now we know how that worked quite well.
He got there first only because he was coming back from Fox and he kind of beat me there, and I got out of my taxi and we get our table, we sit down, and he orders. The thing that I love though is he was so sweet to the waitress. So that was something that I immediately noticed, that he was like really kind to them. And we ordered our food, and then that's when the grilling started happening. Like, that's when the interview process started happening. So I'm like, okay, this is a legit interview. Like, let's go. I'm glad I had my coffee. Like, I'm ready to debate you about Aristotle and Socrates, and you want to talk about theology? Let's do it.
Well, I'd never met anyone quite like her. I remember I called Tyler and I said he's going to have to find talent somewhere else. And whatever opening he thought she would fill, that was not going to work. And Tyler was trying to coach me down because he said that she was way out of my league. And he's still right, by the way.
So after we got through literally half of the Constitution, going through why I'm living in New York and how I shouldn't be living in New York, and what my 5-year plan is, what success looks like to me, what I studied in college, why, it's like every topic you could imagine that is close to Charlie Kirk's heart is what we discussed and went through. When it was like 3.5 hours, and they were starting to close up, and he was finished with his burger, just sat there, and I'm like looking around like, okay, did I get the job? Like, what's going on? I don't need the job, but did I get it? What's going on? And he goes, I'm not going to hire you. It's like, okay, well, thank goodness I didn't need the job because I'm already doing stuff here in Manhattan. He goes, I'm going to date you. And I kind of just I froze. I mean, wouldn't you? I literally I was just like, okay, was not expecting this at all. And I was like, do you want to how about we just be friends first? Like, see where it goes?
And I told her I had enough friends and that I didn't want to be friends with her, so that was kind of a non-starter. But if she wanted to date, that would be great. I had enough friends, and I think she still finds that to be very funny, but I meant it.
And without hesitation, and like zero hesitation, he goes, I have enough friends in my life, so either we're going to date or we're not. Do I have any time to think about it? Yeah, you have until tomorrow night when I take you out for dinner, and then you can give me your answer at dinner tomorrow night, but know that the offer's on the table and I want to date you. Okay. So then afterwards, it was like, thank you for this meeting. I need to go walk home now so I can process what happened. And I literally remember walking home from like 54th and 5th all the way to 30th and Madison to just kind of process what just happened. And I remember calling my mom. I was like, hey. She's like, hey, how are you? What's going on? How did it go? And I was like, well, I didn't get the job. She's like, oh, that's okay. I was like, but I got a boyfriend. And she's like, oh, that's nice.
The first date ended, if I remember correctly, just telling her I needed to see her again very soon, I believe Saturday. And then I guess our second date was a basketball date. And then that was a very fun night, a long night. And then I said, hey, do you want to go to Hawaii tomorrow? And because I was going anyway. And she said, sure. And so I bought her ticket and she accompanied all of us to Hawaii. And Josh was there and Sarah was there and we had a great time. God
knew I literally needed someone to smack me up beside the head being like, I'm not playing games. I'm not going to play with your heart. I'm a loyal person. I'm a good person. I'm a God-fearing person. I want to date you. I have zero tricks up my sleeve. And he just knew that I needed someone like that. And he literally was like, here's Charlie. And it was just, I think it took me by such surprise in my mind, but in my heart, I was like, no, let's.
From that day on, everything between them just clicked. Their next date came quickly, and soon after, Charlie invited her to Hawaii. It might sound spontaneous, maybe even a little wild, but that's what made it beautiful. Erika agreed, and the trip turned out to be the start of something real. They laughed, explored, and built memories that would last forever. Being around each other felt natural. There were no games, no confusion, no doubts, just two people who truly enjoyed each other's company. Erika saw in Charlie a man who was grounded, loyal, and full of purpose. Charlie saw in Erika a woman who was compassionate, strong, and full of light. Together, they balanced each other in the best possible way. Their love wasn't about perfection. It was about understanding, patience, and faith. Charlie often says that Erika became his biggest cheerleader, the person who stood by him through everything. She supported his mission, understood his demanding schedule, and still made space for love and laughter. Erika once said that every part of her life had prepared her to meet Charlie. She had traveled often, lived a fast-paced life, and understood the balance between work and relationships. So, when Charlie came along, she understood his world perfectly. She got him, and that's what made their connection so special. The two traveled together often, and Erika would later say that you learn more about someone when you travel with them than you ever could in short weekend dates. The missed flights, late-night check-ins, and chaotic schedules, they all became moments that brought them closer. Charlie, who often described himself as shy and reserved, found in Erika a warmth that made him feel grounded. She was the calm to his intensity. Then came the proposal, a moment so pure and emotional that Erika would remember it forever. It happened on a day she thought was just a normal photo shoot for her brand, Proclaimed Street. Charlie had cleverly planned everything with the photographer. He told Erika that they should take Christmas photos together that day. She was surprised he wasn't usually one for photo sessions, but she agreed, thinking it would be a sweet idea. During the shoot, Erika placed her hand on Charlie's chest for a picture and noticed that his heart was racing. She laughed, teasing him, not realizing what was about to happen. Then she turned around, and there he was, down on one knee. Erika froze. She couldn't believe what she was seeing. Tears filled her eyes as Charlie, emotional and sincere, asked her to marry him. It was a beautiful, heartfelt moment, the kind of moment where everything around you fades away and all that exists is love. She said yes, and the two of them embraced, both crying and laughing at the same time. That proposal wasn't just romantic. It was the symbol of a love that had been built on faith, friendship, and complete honesty. Their journey, after that, only grew stronger. Charlie often says Erika has been his biggest support, the one who believed in him when the world became too loud, the one who always showed grace, no matter how busy life got. Erika says Charlie was the man she didn't know she needed, someone who showed her what loyalty, faith, and true partnership really meant. Their marriage became a reflection of two people who didn't just fall in love but chose to grow in love every single day. Their story reminds everyone that sometimes love shows up when you least expect it. It doesn't always come wrapped in perfect timing or flawless plans. Sometimes it comes in the middle of a busy life, through a random message, or a dinner you thought was just a meeting. But when it's meant for you, it finds its way. So, if you're watching this right now, make sure to stay till the end, because stories like Charlie and Erika's remind us all that love isn't about searching endlessly, it's about being ready when it finds you. The way Charlie looked at Erika that night in New York, the way she walked home smiling, and the way they both decided to give it a chance, all of it led to a life they now share, full of faith, laughter, and love. Even after all these years, when they talk about how it began, their voices still carry that same spark. It's proof that real love isn't about grand gestures or perfect moments. It's about small things, a kind word, a thoughtful gesture, a simple dinner that turns into forever. Charlie and Erika's love story continues to inspire so many people because it's honest, it's imperfect, and it's real. It's the kind of story that makes you believe that love, when it's genuine, is worth waiting for. If you're still here watching, you already know this love story wasn't written overnight. It was built slowly, with care, faith, and a deep sense of understanding. So don't click off just yet, because love like this deserves to be felt till the very last word.
I mean, she's incredibly loyal, a great sport about traveling and about always having my back. You know, for those people that know me, I sit around most times and don't do much and adverse to traveling, very shy. Trying to find my purpose in life. So she was obviously very helpful at fixing all those things.
I truly feel as if every piece of my life prepared me to date him. And eventually, obviously, marry him, but to date him. And I say that because ever since I was little, and even after college and adult years, I traveled all the time. And I was used to living out of a suitcase. I was used to a very unconventional schedule. I was used to the entrepreneur mindset and just in the mode of building and building and building. And so I got him. I understood that. I understood his sporadic schedule because mine was just as sporadic. And I understood the sleepless nights, and I understood like having to make the time for someone. It doesn't just come to you. You have to work at it. You have to invest into it. And so dating each other, I loved it. I mean, we got to know each other. I tell you what, you learn something about someone a lot more quickly by traveling with them than you do just seeing them on a weekend for just a getaway. When you travel with someone and you have to go through TSA and you have to go through all the different airports and you have to deal with hotel rooms not being ready and car rentals not working out and missing your flight and every logistic you can imagine, because you see every flavor of someone's humanity. And we just, God literally made us for each other.
She was always such a great sport with all the chaos that is my life, and Turning Point USA, and my biggest fan and my biggest cheerleader, and always being just so full of grace and wanted to see me succeed.
So in November, I was scheduling my photo shoot for Proclaim Streetwear because we were relaunching. And Charlie he's so smart, but he's even smarter that day because he worked a deal with the photographer that apparently that was the day. I had no idea. All I knew is that in the morning, I get a message saying, hey, while you're doing your shoot for Proclaim, I would love to do like Christmas photos. Never take photos together, let alone Christmas photos. I was like, okay.
And finally, I was like, oh, let's do pictures together. She's like, you never want to do pictures together. I said, well, today I do.
And I'm positioned in a way where like my hand is on his chest. It's kind of like prom picture, but not aggressive like a prom picture. So we're saying, I'm like, babe, your heart is racing. And so I think that cued the photographer to be like, okay, let's speed this up. I stood over there. He was standing there. No idea that when I turned around that he was already on one knee. I turned back around. I see him there. I froze. I just lost it. He was crying. I was crying. It was by far the most beautiful emotion.